Dave Canales earlier today announces that Bryce Young will start at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers against the Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming week. Now, normally, this is actually a Tuesday or Wednesday version because Canales has to wait to name Bryce until he gathers all of the information. But this week, with the bye last week, he could take a full week to gather information and still name him the quarterback on Monday.
Plenty of time to watch the tape.
I want to be clear here. I'm glad that Bryce Young will continue starting at quarterback for the Panthers. It is the right move. They finished in the spot where they should. So I'm nitpicking. But I have two things that I want to ask of the Panthers. But first, we'll let you hear it in his own words. Dave Canales, speaking with the media earlier today, announces Bryce Young as the starter.
Bryce will play this week. Again, this is about the continued progress. This is about Bryce, looking more and more confident, as he's out there in Germany. Just felt a real confidence and just an aggressiveness to his play and all those things. And of course, the end result, winning, So he continues to do things that put us in a position to put him back out there and continue to build on that.
Few things. First, it appears as if it's still a weekly decision. Why not just name him the starter for as long as he's healthy for the rest of the year? That's my first bugaboo. My second bugaboo is I am still baffled by why Canales waits to announce it. What did he learn between last week and today about his aggressiveness or his confidence in Germany that made the announcement happen now and not then? Right? He spoke to the media early last week. By that point, I assume he knows how aggressive and or confident Bryce was the Sunday morning Eastern time out there in Germany. Why did he wait? I don't get it. And I will acknowledge this, right? Because I've heard it from many on Twitter and some in my email and callers. This one comes from at WFHAGM. I don't know. There you go. On Twitter. Maybe it's a Bryce plays better when he feels he needs to prove it kind of thing. Before he won the Heisman Natty and after were two different stories at Bama. Maybe he needs to be the one chasing. Well, actually, just to correct a little bit there, I believe he won the Natty as a backup. His Heisman year was not the year they won the national championship. It was the Mac Jones year they won the national championship.
Correct.
He got the last snap, right? He went in there for the end. But he did win the Heisman, so you're saying after the Heisman he wasn't as good. You might also argue after losing most of his really good wide receivers, he wasn't as good. But he was still very, very good his senior year. If that's the case, this is a bigger problem than I thought. If that's the case, you might as well tell Bryce, we're cutting you. If he gets named the starter after losing his job a couple months ago on one of the worst teams in the NFL with absolutely no individual success really to speak of, and suddenly now he loses an edge, get him out of there. I don't think that's the case. I think you might even build his confidence even further if you name him the starter. Quarterback, again, we could do this every week. It's a different deal than other positions. Canales also said today, because Ike Ekwonu's back at left tackle, Dave Canales told the media that there's now a decision to be made between Brady Christensen and Cade Mays at center, which is a tough decision, right? Offensive line, two guys. Christensen is a good player. He's played well at center. Cade Mays, because Christensen had to move to tackle, Cade Mays stepped in at center, and he battled Dexter Lawrence out there in Germany, this year especially, the best interior defensive lineman in the league. And he played well against him. Take your time to figure out that competition. Christensen or Mays, let them battle it out. Quarterback is not that. It's not. It's you can't play quarterback harder. I keep saying that. Right? If you tell a running back, hey, if you don't start producing, you're going to lose your job. They are going to strain through the run. They are going to fight for extra yards. They can be angry and play better. Offensive line, same deal. You're going to strain extra hard. You're going to power through your blocks extra hard. If you're a quarterback, you can't read faster and angrier. You can't squeeze the ball tighter. It's a confidence thing. You want to play loose. Go watch any pre-game deal, right? If the quarterback's not the guy in the middle of the huddle doing the Drew Brees, right? Like 1, fight, 2, win, whatever that thing is. Quarterbacks will be on the outside. There'll be a linebacker, a tight end, a lineman of some kind in the middle, and they'll be going, we got to go in there and tear their head off, and we're going to fight hard, we're going to be physical, and the quarterback will be on the outside, low heart rate, chilling. Because quarterback is different. Bryce Young, I believe, he's the guy. Which, by the way, everybody knows he's the guy. Going back to Andy Dalton doesn't make any sense. I don't think the Chiefs, in preparation for the Bills, who they played Sunday, were somehow confused by are we going to prepare for Andy Dalton or Bryce in the 14 hours after their game against Buffalo before Coach Canales named the starter?
And up until yesterday's game, the Chiefs' defense has been playing surprisingly well all season. I don't even think they would have been too worried as to who the starting quarterback is either way for the Panthers.
Matter of fact, you might say the old Panthers are about to get an angry version of the Chiefs after losing their undefeated season to the Bills over the weekend. They definitely don't care who the quarterback is. Name Bryce the starter for the rest of the year. I don't see why it's not happening. And again, I'm nitpicking. They end the last 3 weeks or whatever, they've ended on the right answer, right? They've come to with Bryce Young as the starter. So if you have to, you do go through whatever. It's better than naming anyone else the starter, is naming Bryce the starter late. I am completely acknowledging that we are nitpicking here. I just don't get it, and it frustrates me.
No, I'm with you. I mean, yeah, they've done the right thing as far as naming him the starter. They've reached the end goal, which is a win the past 2 weeks. But I agree with what you said a couple of weeks back after one of Dave Canales' press availabilities. Dave, show me that you have confidence in your young quarterback once. Just come straight up and say,
even if it impacts football zero, it's the mystery of it that gets me. If every time Dave Canales ended an interview, he said hey, 45 times 12 is 9, and then he just walked off, it would impact nothing, but I would still be sitting there going, what does 45 times, I forget what I said, 45 times 12 is 9, what does that mean?
How much more do you have to evaluate? How many times do you have to go back and check the tape? How many times does Bryce Young have to go out there and lead a game-winning drive or play convincingly well?
I don't care if he plays bad. Andy Dalton is 37 years old.
Yeah, there's no future for the Panthers with Andy Dalton.
You're gathering information on Bryce. Right? If he continues to win, then maybe he's your guy next year. If he turns back into a pumpkin and he turns the ball over a bunch, then he's definitely not your guy next year. Gathering information is important here. I just don't understand it.